No wonder you are poor. Because when I see you wasting time, I see a future thief. If I see you wasting time, I see a future thief. I don't see a future pastor. I see a future thief. So when you're wasting time, you are telling people that, hey guys, I'm going to be a thief. Are we together? Time is very precious. I don't want you to waste time. Let us continue reading. We just have 4 chapters to go. Let us continue. Listen to this, Job. Stop and consider God's wonders. Do you know that God controls the clouds and make his lightning flash? Do you know how the clouds hang poised? These wonders of him who is perfect in knowledge, you who swell thoughts when the land lies hushed under the south wind, can you join him in spreading out the skies? I don't want us to waste time. I want us to quickly move on. Tell us what we should say to him. We cannot drop our case because of our darkness. Shall he be told that I want to speak? Would anyone ask to be swallowed up? Now, no one can look at the sun, bright as it is in the skies, after the wind has swept them clean. Out of the north, he comes in golden splendor. You know, there are people who talk about gold. Tomorrow we're going to talk about gold, how Africa is full of gold, and how some people from other countries, they are sneaking gold out of Africa to Dubai, and they make a killing. But don't worry, we will get to that later. I want us to quickly finish reading so that we can have ample time. You know, no one can look at the sun, bright as it is in the skies after the wind has swept them clean. Out of the north he comes in in golden splendor. God comes in awesome majesty. The Almighty is beyond our reach and exalted in power. In his justice and great righteousness, he does not oppress. Therefore, people revere him. For does he not have regard for all the wise in heart? Chapter 38. We just have 4 chapters left. I really don't want us to waste time. Okay, if you're new to this channel, quickly subscribe and comment. I want us to start reading the book of Psalms chapter 1, and then tomorrow we'll finish very quickly. I want us to do this very quickly. I really don't like time wastage. When I see people wasting time, I see poor people. So when people start wasting my time, I get angry because my time is very precious. I pay for every minute. So then that is how I'm very shrewd with my time. Okay. And when I meet people who value time, I'm happy. Okay. When I see people who value their time. Okay. Because when you spend just 1 hour with a millionaire, he has already given you $1 million. Okay. But if you spend days with poor people, you not go home with anything. So that is why I'm very, very keen on how I'm spending my time. Okay. Chapter 38, the Lord speaks. Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm. He said, who is this that obscures my plan with words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man. I will question you and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Where were you? You know, after Job had complained, the Lord answered him in chapter 38. Where were you when I laid? Where were you? You know, that's a very good question. Where were you? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? Or what were its footing set? And who laid its cornerstone? While the morning stars sing together and all the angels shouted for joy, who shut up the seas behind doors when it burst forth from the womb? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very to be here. We are reading from Job chapter 38, and I want us to finish reading. Once we've finished reading, I don't want us to waste time. Okay, I'm very keen on the kind of how I'm spending my time. So when you're reading, I don't like people wasting time. So let's continue. When I made the clouds its garment and wrapped it in thick darkness, when I fixed limits for it and set its doors and bars in place, when I said, this far you may come no further. Here is where your proud waves halt. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. We have been streaming for the past 2 hours, and I really don't like time wastage. Let's continue. Have you ever given orders to the morning or shown the dawn its place, that it may take the earth by the edges and shake the wicked out of it? The earth takes shape like clay under the seal, its features turned out like those of a garment. What's the time now? It is around 3, and I want us to continue with this speed because I really don't want us to waste more time, okay? I want us to go with a good speed. Have you journeyed to the springs of the sea or walked to the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been shown to you? Have you seen the gates of the deepest darkness? Wow. So you see, the Lord was answering Job, and he was telling Job that that was not the end. The Lord wanted to teach Job something. You see here, have you seen the gates of the deepest darkness? Have you comprehended the vast expanses of the earth? And thinking of darkness, thinking of how deep you can go, let me tell you a very interesting story. Do you know the sea, how it is? How far can a human get into the sea? Deep. Can I surprise you? Only 500 meters. In fact, they took a machine, went into, try to know where Titanic was, the place where it was. And guess what? There was a lot of pressure, and the pressure in that, the deep, when you go to the sea, the deeper you go, the more the pressure. Do you understand? The deeper you go, the more the pressure. So they tried to find out where Titanic is hidden. So they went, and when they came close to the Titanic, there was a lot of pressure and it crashed that submarine. So I want to ask you guys a question. Do you know? Can I tell you something? And I've given you an assignment. So how do these people who worship the devil, how do they go to the deepest part of the sea? That is a question that if you know the answer, it's called the gates of hell. How do they get there? That's a very good question. You should answer that question. How do they get there? That's why I'm telling you, the devil, can I give you some information? The devil was given as above and as is below. So let me tell you some secrets. The devil, the kingdom of the devil, is as above and as is below. So it means the devil has dominion in the water, on land, and in the air. Okay, so he was given dominion as above and as is below. And if you do your research, you realize that those who worship, Lucifer, they find themselves in the deepest of the ocean. And believe you me, there is a way that they connect. They go to the deepest part of the ocean. This is the question that the Lord is asking Job. Have you ever comprehended? Have you ever seen the deepest darkness, the gates of the deepest It's very interesting. You see, ladies and gentlemen, in the deep end of the sea, there's no light because the light can only penetrate up to 400 meters. It's very interesting. So for them, going to the sea, the deepest part of the sea, oh, it's very cold, it's very deep, and it's very dark. Let us continue reading. That is why I always tell people, there are so many things that, if you want to grow in the word, you must be a spiritual person. You must see things through spiritual eyes. And, it's very interesting. And the difference between people is the kind of sacrifice somebody has given. For you to be given the keys to that kingdom, it's a very huge sacrifice you must pay. That is why I've been teaching about altars. If you control the altar, you control the land. If you control the land, you control the money. If you control the money, you control destinies. If you control the destinies, you control people. So the first step is the altar. Let us continue. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. We've been streaming, I think, 2 hours, 3 hours now. And I don't want to go anywhere. I want to continue. Are you guys tired? Okay. What is it? What is the way to the abode of light? And where does darkness reside? Can you take them to their places? Do you know the paths of their dwellings? Surely you know, for you were already born. You have lived so many years. Have you entered the storehouse of the snow, or seen the stone houses of the whole, which I reserve for times of trouble, for days of war and battle? What is the way to the place where the lightning is dispersed, or the place where the east winds are scattered over the earth? Who cuts a channel for the torrents of rain and the path of the thunderstorm? To water a land where no one lives, an uninhabited desert, to satisfy a desolate wasteland and make it sprout with grass. Does the rain have a father? Who fathers the drops of dew? For whom comes the ice? Who gives birth to the frost from the heavens? Who gives birth to the frost? So you see here, Job was complaining, but the answer came in chapter 38. When the waters become hard as stone, when the surface of the deep is frozen, can you bind the chains of the pleaders? Can you loosen Orion's belt? Can you bring forth the constellations in their seasons? Or lead out the bear with its cubs? Do you know the laws of the heavens, or set up God's dominion over the earth? Can you raise your voice to the clouds and cover yourself with a flood of water? Do you send the lightning bolts on their way? Do they report to you? Here we are. Who gives the ibis wisdom and gives the cockerel understanding? Who has the wisdom to count the clouds? Who can tip over the water jars of the heaven when the dust becomes hard and the clouds of earth sticks together? Do you hunt the prey for the lioness and satisfy the hunger of the lions? Can you satisfy the hunger of the lions? That's a very good question. When they crouch in the dens and lie in wait in a thicket, who provides food for the raven? When its young cry out to God and wander about for lack of food. We're not going anywhere until we finish. Chapter 39. Don't go.